Okay, we've drilled our hole into our small bolt, and I got my easy out in there. I make my own easy outs, but don't have one small enough. Take old files and stuff and grind the ends so I can sharpen them like a left-handed drill bit. But anyway, we drove that in there. Now we're going to see if we can break this loose right there. Okay, and it's coming out. The nice thing about easy outs and stuff is they're long enough to where you can drive them way down in there. So if you drill that small hole in there, you can, at least about an inch deep, and you want to use the smallest easy out that you can find to start with before you keep moving up to the next size, so that you have 3 or 4 different tries. But in any case, let's say that didn't work. Now let's move on to the second thing, which is we got to get us enough area around this bolt in order to try to get these vice grips in there to grab these vice grips to get in there to see if we can't grab that bolt. Okay, what I've done, of course I know you can do a little better job of not letting this lumber split out on you, and you're probably dealing with some oak anyway, being a table leg, which it is really tough to get bolts out of oak lumber. But in any case, okay, now we've got a little area dug down without having to go too much farther. Now we're going to get our vice grips and see if we can't grab the edge of this bolt and see if we can work it out that way. Alright, we got, like I said, we got 2 tries, sometimes 4. Get this thing down on there. You want to try to catch it at just at the edge of your vice grips. See if you can grab a hold of that thing. This is why you didn't want to drill too big of a hole in there, because then you'd squash the bolt and you couldn't really get a good hold on it. And get this thing. Oh, I gotta really bear down. Okay, we bear down on it. Okay, you see we can work this thing out now. But here again, this is not oak. Okay, so that's the second way. Now let's say that didn't work. Let's say we messed up the end, and okay, now we've got to go find us a welding shop, unless you have a friend that's got a welder. We're going to put a nut on top of this thing, and we're going to put some tacks on it. You can use a nut, you can use a washer, you can use whatever you got. Okay, that's got me a 1/4 inch bolt. I'm not sure what size you have, but it won't go down on there. So we need to use a 5/16, which that seems to go over the top of that bolt pretty well, and we got plenty of room to weld that. So now we're going to we got to put something in the middle. Doesn't matter if this gets welded to it or not. So that we got to get what's known as a good ground on this thing. That's going to be a tough trick to do, but we're going to do it. So let me grab my welder and we'll get busy on it. Okay, well, in order to get a ground to hold on this, I've just got a piece of copper this is my copper ground that I use for odd welding tips, tricks, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I got to put this over the hole. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp that down so that I can get inside there and weld that nut to that bolt. Okay, you can see I've got it clamped on there. We're fixing to hook this thing up and weld that nut to it. See if we can't get this thing out of there. Alright, we're going to let that cool down for a minute. I'll just go get some water and throw on there, and then we'll see what we got. Okay, we got this thing. This thing's still kind of hot, but trying to cool this off just a little bit. But the nice thing about heat is it will heat that bolt up down inside the wood. And if you let it cool long enough, it'll, how do you say, you know, it's going to expand the wood because of the humidity in there, and then it will shrink back to where it'll be a little easier to get that bolt out of there. But in any case, okay, we've got it done. Now let's see. I'm going to take this thing out. A lot of times this thing will just stick to the bolt, or the nut I mean. Yeah, there we go. And then we just back this thing up. And there we have it. But you can see what it does to the area around the bolt, which means you're going to need a little, you can dig all that out. That's why you only just want to hit it just a little bit each time. I mean, it's the reason I did a pretty heavy dose on it first time to kind of speed this process up. But in any case, you just take and just dig this out, and then put your filler, and you can stain it. You know, if you're any good with wood repair, hopefully it's underneath the table where you won't see it anyway. But we did get the bolt out, and I don't know of any other way to do it besides that. So I wish you a lot of luck on trying to get this thing done.